What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about super evolutions. Now, this is going to be talking about my ideal character developments for the super evolutions for characters that don't currently have a super evolution in the game. So, you know, there are a couple of characters recently that received super evolutions with Legend Marco, Lucy, Robin. Those characters recently got super evolutions that made them actually pretty good. I mean, Lucy was already good, you know, previously, but you know, characters like Robin and Marco, characters that were used a little less, they got amazing buffs and they made them meta relevant, honestly. So I would like them to see them put that kind of effort into other super evolution characters. So in this video, we're going to pull up 3 different characters in my eyes that deserve a super evolution. One of them I'd say is a little bit biased, you know, but either way, we'll get to that point. But anyways, let's just jump into it because this might be a longer-ish video. Hopefully it's not too long. Either way, the first one obviously is Log Luffy. Log Luffy is like way past the point of deserving a super evolution. He is the oldest character in the game that currently does not own a super evolution, so I really hope he does get one, potentially with the 6th anniversary event that's coming on JP. Could potentially get one. Either way, what this character does, for those who don't know what he actually does, he gives you 4 times attack after Good, Great, Perfect. That's it. 4 times attack after Good, Great, Perfect on his arrival, was definitely the best legend in the game for a pretty long time. His special ability does random typeless damage to all enemies and gives himself a strength slot, and that is it. So let's talk about how they could upgrade this. So in terms of his captain ability, I think that it's quite straightforward what they need to do. They need to give him a base boost. So this honestly could stay, just add an effect where it's like 3.5 times otherwise, so it's always at least a 3.5 boost, but after Good, Great, Perfect, you get a 4 times boost. That's fine. Now you can see with his sailor abilities, he makes recovery in 10 and beneficial for all characters. They could literally just chuck that into his captain ability. So 4 times after Good, Great, Perfect, 3.5 otherwise, recovery in tandem are beneficial for your whole team. That's all they really need to do, and like Log Luffy would be a pretty good captain, honestly. Yeah, I do know Good, Great, Perfect sucks. Like it's not a really good mechanic, honestly, but I think they need to maintain his old mechanic with a super evolution. I think that just makes sense. So in terms of his special, what do they need to do? I think that they definitely need to change this. It shouldn't be random typeless damage. I think we're past that point in the game now. Either make it fixed damage, like large fixed damage to all enemies, or a large multiplier times his attack, AoE, to all enemies. That makes sense to me. It says changes his own orb into strength. I think potentially he could change his own orb and then adjacent slots into matching as well. That would be pretty nice. And maybe add an attack boost or an orb boost. I think an orb boost on top of orb manipulation would be huge. That'd be pretty big. So I don't think that'd give him a 2 times boost, maybe a 1.75 times boost, and then maybe if he's your captain, then get a 2 times boost, something like that. Like give incentive to use him as a captain compared to using him as a sub. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, there isn't really much they need to do to just make Log Luffy a really usable character, but it's just interesting to talk about. You can see he's got a 5-turn cooldown. I think that if they are going to add like orb boosting or type boosting effects, they probably need to increase this cooldown to maybe 10 turns, you know, because that'd be kind of crazy, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he does get one in the future, but let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Obviously, with these 3 characters, maybe, you know, you've got other characters in mind that deserve a super evolution that you really, really like. Obviously, there's going to be characters that are not in this video that I know a lot of people really like, so if there is one that you really like that I didn't talk about, let me know down below in the comment section what kind of abilities you would give that character. So let's move on to the next one. Now, the next one, in my eyes, that deserves one is Rayleigh. I do talk about him a lot on my live streams. I do think that if anyone needs a super evolution, it is 100% this guy. Even the characters that surrounded him on his release, right? So he came out around the same era as Lucy, version 2 Fujitora, version 1 Judge. He came out around those era of characters. All of those characters that we just mentioned all have super evolutions, by the way. So I think it's about time that this guy gets one. Potentially with the countdown event that's happening with JP moving into their 6th anniversary, they are going through the waves of the story, right? So they're at Alabasta right now, and obviously they're going to go to Skypiea, Water 7, Enies Lobby, Thriller Bark, etc. Potentially once they get to Marineford, at the end of the Marineford event, this guy might get a super evolution, because obviously this is where Whitebeard died. So you might get a dual evolution release on Japan with Quickbeard super evolution with this guy. That'd be pretty sick. Either way, I digress. Let's talk about his abilities. So as a captain, he's actually not bad still. The only problem is this, right? You have to be below 30% in order for you to get the massive boost. So if you're not below 30%, he's a 2.5 times attack captain. So that's a big problem. So what there's 2 options that they could do here. Number 1 could either just remove the HP threshold and the 2.5 times attack boost. So he'll be all the time a 3.5 captain. That's quite valid. Or what they could do is increase the threshold so it's 50% but increase the multipliers of the other stuff. So if they do increase the multipliers, so that would be 50% HP. So if you're below half health, potentially make him a 4 times captain, and then make him a 3 times captain otherwise, or a 3.5 times captain otherwise. Because you got to remember, he still provides a 1.25 HP in recovery boost. A lot of people discredit that. A 1.25 recovery boost is huge. There's a reason why recovery cotton candies only give you 100, you know, extra stats to that specific stat, right? Because getting so much recovery is a big deal. Whenever you pick up a recovery orb, you're healing for so much. And that is a big deal. This actually is huge. And he also gives you cooldown at the start of the fight. So with the right super evolution, V2 Rayleigh's looking really good. Now, his special ability also has that same problem of, it's a good special, but you have to be below 30% in order to get the rest of the abilities. So you get the fixed damage, which could be changed to AoE fixed damage in my eyes. He also locks your chain at 3 times. He gives you a 1.75 orb boost. And then when you're below 30%, you get 95% damage reduction, and you get the orb manipulation. So what they could do here is remove this and probably leave it as is, so that all the time you get fixed damage, chain lock, orb boost, damage reduction, orb manipulation. He'd be a god. He would be a god. And even reducing the cooldown a little bit would be nice too. Does he have a upgraded Limit Break Plus? No, he doesn't have one yet. So I think with a Limit Break Plus, he even might get a buffed captain ability. But still, this being below 30% is a pretty big deal. So let me know down below in the comment section about this guy as well. What do you guys want to see with an upgraded V2 Rayleigh? Thing is, they could release a super evolution for this guy, and he might just be a side-graded version of his old version. You know, he could just be completely different. What if they flipped it, and instead of being at low HP, you have to maintain a high HP threshold? That'd be just a little bit different, you know, a different way to play the character. So I do think the V2 Rayleigh deserves some love for sure. Now, as for the final character, it's my boy. It is my boy, Mr. Slam Jam V2 Katakuri. Now, some people are probably thinking, what? V2 Katakuri don't need no super evolution, but man, of course he needs a super evolution, but we need to see the Buzz Cut Mochi in One Piece Treasure Cruise. We need it. And dude, I can't even imagine the type of artwork that the team would come up with for Buzz Cut Mochi, dude. That would look flames. Either way, let's talk about V2 Katakuri. Now, what do I think they need to upgrade with this guy? Now, of course, as you know, as Legend Kaido came out, I've talked about it a lot recently since his release, and even with Bullet's release as well. The fact that normal attacks only is a big deal. It is actually a big deal moving forward. There will be lots of content progressing forward, especially on global, that will have normal attacks only, which means that, you know, abilities that rely on special damage in order to function is going to be basically hindered useless, right? Now, that's the big deal with his special. Now, I do think they're going to upgrade his captain ability as well. We'll talk about his special first, right? So currently, it's based on the amount of damage that you've taken, that you've stored throughout the run, and by doing that, you enable you to get lots of damage when you activate the special, and lots of tap timing bonus damage. So what they really need to do here is make his special more useful when you're under the infliction of normal attacks only, or even so with the removal of, you know, accumulated damage. Because we've seen even with V2 Doflamingo, he gets hindered useless as well from normal attacks only and accumulated damage. So, in my eyes, a way around this is because we know that with his captain ability, he is based on giving additional color affinity. What if, with his special ability, he gave you additional color affinity? So maybe, potentially, what if it stated like, if your accumulated damage is less than 100,000, because obviously he caps out at 200,000, so if it's less than half of the cap, then you get a 2.25 color affinity to these classes. Now, I think they might change the classes, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I think that'd be great, because it means that, like, if you're under the circumstance where you can use his special, you're getting his massive damage, but if you get your damage removed, then you can still get a 2.25 color affinity. Or maybe what they could do is, if you're under the cap by half, then you get the 2.25 color affinity, but if you're over it, you still get a 1.75 color affinity, which would mean that, you know, there's still a usage for his special ability. There is still a reason to bring this character on your team, despite normal attacks only, or despite accumulated damage being removed. Now, as for his captain ability, if they're going to change him to Buzz Cut Mochi, I think that they got to drop the Slasher class and then put the Striker class back in. That makes perfect sense in my eyes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree there. Now, he does boost all of those classes by 1.825, meaning that if they have 2 of these classes on their kit, then they get that multiplied by that. So that actually equals out to a 3.3 times multiplier. 1.825. Square that out, is a 3.3. So if you guys remember version 1 Katakuri, that's the exact same multiplier that he gives. Of course, he's got other abilities on top of that. But when V1 Katakuri got a super evolution, he was no longer boosting by that number. He was now going to boost by 1.95. So 1.95, and you square that, is a 3.8 boost. Now that is a huge jump from 3.3 to 3.8, and because version 1 Katakuri got it, I do believe whenever V2 Katakuri gets a super evolution, he'll also be around that multiplier. But you gotta look, right? He also gives you an additional 1.4 times color affinity. Now, I don't know about you, but if they're gonna do that and then give him an additional 1.4 times color affinity, I don't think they're gonna maintain a 5.32 attack boost with type advantage. That really doesn't make sense in my eyes. I feel like that's way too much. So in my eyes, what they need to do is they need to lower this multiplier. I think that if they lowered it to 1.3, it would make sense with his abilities. So 4.94, previously with his regular form as it is right now, when you attack with type advantage, it's 4.66. So if they make it go to 4.94, that's not that big of a jump. Obviously, it makes a difference, but it's not that big of a jump. And then it means that if you are attacking without the type advantage, you're still getting a 2.92 boost, whereas previously it was around a 2.2 or a 2.3. So obviously, all around the board, by increasing that to 1.95 and decreasing that to 1.3, I feel like it balances out the character, and it would make perfect sense. He does more damage, and it just means that with type advantage, it's just perfect for the character. And it means that even under normal attacks only, you're still able to hit very, very hard. As for the rest of his kit, these don't need to change, and the healing after every stage, that doesn't need to change either. It's just making his special more useful and his captain ability a little more useful under those certain debuffs that really hinder the character. You could say the exact same things about V2 Doflamingo. He probably deserves a super evolution as well. But yeah, those are the 3 characters that I'm just gonna put it out there for you guys. Those are the ones that I would love to see get a super evolution. As I said, let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about super evolved characters, or what ones you would like to see moving forward into the future. It's going to be interesting moving forward and seeing what they're going to do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.